Welcome to the Genealogy radio show, the radio show that's keeping you in the loop. And this week's show is all about a kind of a mixture of records for rural records. So family, when you're searching for rural records for family history research, what type of records are really helpful to you? One of the aspects of researching Irish genealogy for when you're from the countryside and from rural hinterlands is that you have the fracture of diaspora and emigration. But you also have people who were left behind, forming a continuity in the landscape and the land. So it's not true to say that they all went and didn't come back. Post 1860, many go and many come back as well. Transportation has differed from 1845 and people start to come back and they remain. But from the 1900s, they start to come back and they start taking photographs, they start writing letters. There's a different wealth of material of what's going on for the history of rural Ireland and for the records that you thus find in. So one of the things you're going to find is you're going to find subscriptions to churches where people, to build the Catholic churches post 1850, many were done on donations and patronage. And so you'll find American families patronizing the churches and becoming a big key figure in where people are from as well, because they wouldn't act as a patron just for an anonymous church. It will be from where their family hailed from. So all these are clues and keys, and it's why one of the sources that we're just going to look at briefly here is irishgenealogy.ie, not just for the marriages and the births, but for the graveyards, because they have graveyard records online, and two types of graveyard records exist: cemetery burial records and headstone transcripts. Cemetery records, by far the biggest online collection, makes up the records of Glasnevin Cemetery in Dublin, about 1.5 million records dating from 1828, available at the pay-per-view site www.glasnevintrust.ie. So that's very significant. Burial records for County Kerry are free at www.kerrylaburials.ie. Limerick City burial records from Mount St. Lawrence are free at www.limerickcity.ie/archives. So these are all really valuable locations for records online. The Glasnevin Trust, kerrylaburials.ie, limerickcity.ie archives. For areas in and around Cork City, you can see the corkarchives.ie, and for Belfast, you can see belfastcity.gov.uk/burial records. So, headstones. These have been transcribed, published and digitised in many places. For a guide to Dublin City and County transcripts, see www.dublinheritage.ie. This is a fantastic website, actually. I'm going to talk a little bit about it further on in the show. For the 6 counties of Northern Ireland, there's a pay-per-view historyfromheadstones.com, and it has almost a complete set without images. For other areas, the main resources are historicgraves.com, interment.net, discovereverafter.com, findmypast.ie, fromireland.net, irishgraveyards.ie. And you also have Find a Grave as well. There's lots of really important sites that you can cross-regulate and so on. So it is important that you would have a look at those. And these online records are really important. So when you're looking at the sites, if you go into Glasnevin Trust, you will be able to get that online. You can see that it's headed Visit Glasnevin, the cemetery and the museum. Genealogy, trace your ancestry. They have a funeral service and they have an online shop. So the genealogy, trace your ancestry, research your relatives' family tree or discover the stories of the people buried in Glasnevin Trust cemeteries. You can search for the first name, the surname, and you can search their records. The Glasnevin Trust the record keeping has been there since 1828. They can help you find your records, family history, or discover more about the stories of the people buried in Glasnevin Trust cemeteries. The genealogy results preview is free to access, so you simply use the search tools above to get sorted, and then you'll be prompted to buy credit. So it's a little bit like Scotland's People if you wish to take your search deeper. It's good in the fact that they have a resident genealogist who can guide you through their online. And you can explore your family history at any time on their online database. The resident genealogist is Lynn Brady, MGSI, on site from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday to Friday. And she's helped people from all over the world to delve deeper into their Irish heritage. So it is wonderful to be able to do this, and you know there's an excellent service there, and that's not available in many places as well. So it really would be worth looking. I know that Glasnevin Trust are always really good at trade shows, and they're there. They have a strong presence, and they have a very interesting history. So it does make a difference when you're researching and bits and pieces. And, you know, it must be tough on them at the moment in relation to COVID-19 and bits and pieces. So it's quite important to have a look at that. So Glasnevin Trust is operated by Dublin Cemeteries Committee, and it was established by Daniel O'Connell, very famous in Catholic emancipation. The trust includes Glasnevin, Golden Bridge, Partnerstown, Dardenstown, Newlands Cross cemeteries, and so on. So it's really interesting to see how that works, you know, and a very interesting aspect. So they do have search your records just on their interface, and you can look at, we'll say, if I was to type in Shaw or something like that, just to see what I get, and search their records. And that's a good way of looking to see for surnames, if you're looking for particular surnames and so on. So it might not, maybe it doesn't allow me to look without whatever. Sometimes it's handy to try these before you go on to the radio show, but we'll see. So I'm accepting the cookies and so on. But interesting to see what's going on here. And for the graveyards, you also have the Kerry Graveyard, so Kerry burials as well. And you have, that's not just one graveyard, that's 140 Kerry local authority cemeteries, 168 books scanned, 70,000 burial records indexed. So you can browse through a particular manuscript from their online archive. Now, if I hadn't gone on the site today, I wouldn't have been aware that anything else existed except the local authorities' graveyard research. So they have a mapping tool, they have an archive of burial records by name, date and location, and they have a particular manuscript from their online archives. And that's kerrylaburials.ie. Very interesting for that, for a local authority. So the sponsors are the Kerry Graveyard Records Heritage Steering Group, consists of North and East Development, IRD Duhallow, South Kerry Development Partnership, Mehel for Baha na Gaeltachta, and Kerry County Council. So they're all there, all featured in relation to what they need to do. So when we look at, you've got an aspect of Irish and English showing you still how the burials are there, and you get a drop down menu of all the burials as such. So you can see one of the aspects of this wonderful aspect is that it shows you the names of the cemeteries and the graveyards. That's really, really important, because if you may think that because something has the name of a village like Scariff, that the graveyard is Scariff Graveyard. It's not, it's Moyno. So knowing the absolute type of names is really important. So for this, in Kerry, you've got Ballinskelligs the Glen, Ballinskelligs New, Ballyboyne, Ballinacourty, Ballinakilla. Aglish, Ballyhar. Now, Aglish is a name that comes up in a few places. You've one in Waterford as well. Derry Finnan, Beg, Duach. Lovely, really important names here of what's going on. You have Listowel. So if I was to search Listowel, I would see that when I go into that cemetery, it's linking me to a manuscript, to a name of a book. And what it's giving me is the book of Listowel Town, 1961 to 1965. So it's actually giving me the actual book of the Urban District Council with the names and so on. So it's giving me the cause of death as well in these. So it's absolutely giving me everything, and it gives me a great deal of detail. So that's something I caution the listeners on, in the fact that you might be wondering, well, the records are there, and use them with respect and care and bits and pieces and so on. They are an absolute, account. I won't read out the names because the people aren't dead that long. They might have died in the 1960s, and you get to hear that they died of a fall. Old age, heart, so on. So you can see where people would have, what ages they lived to. So you can see anyone over a certain age might be put down as old age. Like someone 71 isn't considered old, funny enough, so they're put down as heart. Someone of 79 is considered old, and they'd be put down as old age, even though it might have been the heart that killed them as well. So these are the records that you need to be aware of looking at the micro details of the burials. So the books here and the archives are absolutely fantastic. They're the books linking you to the graveyards in Kerry, and they're a wonderful source indeed, and very well worth you looking at and so on. And you will see their status, whether they were single, married, so on. And again, it's fairly standard for what's happening here. Old age. It doesn't go into too much details on this particular register, but every register may be very, very different. So it's just something that you might want to keep of. But of course, in the case of an accident, you may have something different again, and that's sometimes they don't have a reason down, so they don't have any reason for cause of death down. So that's just something that you might keep in mind. In the later editions of this, for this, it didn't have it. So going back again, if I search another, because it's always good to do a cross-reference of what's happening here and see are some in Irish, because some can be in Irish, and just to see if that's the case, that we have Kylemore Graveyard, Valentia in 1963, end year 1984, Kylemore Graveyard, Valentia 1980, end year 2010. So it goes really up to quite detailed as such. So if I go into the earlier ones, am I looking at Irish names? I'm not so much looking at Irish names. I'm looking at them in English, which is significant, and I'm looking at single and so on, and the cause of death is more detailed in this register. So again, useful to be able to see the difference in the register, and you have different more formal ways: senile decay, coronary, senile decay. So instead of old age, you have gangrene down as one, accident in another, cardiac. The person putting in this is far more medical terms are being used. Maybe they're getting the terms off the actual death cert. So that's something that's significant here. So every record in rural Ireland gives you a different slant because it has a different vernacular when you're looking. And that's one of the things we'll be exploring in the Genealogy radio show, and also in our webinars, which will be running in October from UCC. We're going to be repeating our webinars again, and we'll be having discussions as part of that, because we all learn off each other, and we can all give a great deal of accounts off each other as well. So for rural Ireland, graveyards like this, and if you go on to the irishgenealogy.ie website, you'll be able to see that and so on. And that's a fantastic site. I mean, you know, you really are getting a cross mixture of everything there. And it's something that site should be really built up and continue to grow and grow and grow, because in every part of the Genealogy radio show, there has always been something that I've been able to draw from as such. And when you look at your records, remember to contextualize, not just to look for records, but to look at why is there a difference between how deaths or cause of death is listed in one area to another. Who is the person in charge of that? What's the influences going on there? And also, when you go into churches, if you're visiting online or having a look and patronizing various graveyards and bits and pieces, these names are really important to you because it shows a link from the past to the present, and it can bring your family history research up a notch when you're researching in Ireland. Now, I have a few announcements in the fact that I was looking at the Claire Santry's blog, and there's a lovely day in Queensland on the 24th online and I'd like to announce that because it's very nice to be able to do that. And it's the Genealogical Society of Queensland hosting Exploring Irish Ancestry live seminar on the 24th of August. It's a paid session, and it's if for a member it's $50, or for early bird it's $50, and for non-members it's $65. And the early bird pricing ends on the 30th of September. It'll be through Zoom, and it's 9:30 up to 6. It starts with Past and Furious: Ireland and its Shaping of Family History with Jennifer Harrison. 10:30 to 11:30, Accessing Republic of Ireland Archives and Online Collection with Pauline Cass. 11:30 to 12:30, Irish Land Records, Valuations and Online Collections with John Grenham. 12:30 to 1, lunch break. 1 to 2, Northern Ireland Archives, Prony and Online Collections with Chris Patton. 2 to 3, Workhouses and Poor Law in Ireland with Kathy Sherwood. 3 to 4, Irish Migration to Australia with Helen Smith. 4 to 4:30, Drawing of Raffles, Lucky Door Prize Seminar Roundup. 5:30 to 6, live Q&A with Chris Patton. So that looks really, really good. And, you know, just to get the link for you, which you're entering Irish Ancestry, and I'll do a blog up on that, and it's gsq.org.au. So that's the Genealogical Society conducting a programme of events including classes, seminars, workshops, education sessions to provide their members and visitors with a wide variety of information on family history topics. So their annual seminar on Irish ancestry is October the 24th, 9 to 6. So really, really good there, and very nice to be able to see that. Now, That's all for today. The show is podcast out. We've looked at some interesting records for rural Ireland and what you can do with them. Cemetery records and graveyard records are really important for you to start linking into. And a lot of these sources are free of charge. Some are subscription based, but well worth looking at. That's all for today. Thank you for listening.